Okay, so imagine this. You've got like a personal compass, something that guides you through all the twists and turns life throws at you. It gives you clarity, makes you resilient, gives you this profound sense of meaning, even when everything feels chaotic. What if that compass wasn't something outside of you, but, something you could actually grow within yourself, like a deep internal North Star?
Yeah, it's a really powerful idea, isn't it? Something so personal, but with such a universal impact, like this quiet power just waiting inside.
Absolutely. So today we're doing a deep dive into the importance of purpose. Find meaning in your life's direction. We've looked at a whole bunch of insights, from psychology, health, philosophy, and our mission today is really to unpack what purpose actually means, why it's so incredibly vital for our well-being, and maybe most importantly, how you can start discovering and nurturing your own sense of direction.
hmm We'll get into the sort of subtle differences that define purpose, look at its incredible effects on your mind and body, and then, map out some practical steps to help you on that journey of self-discovery and, taking action.
Okay, let's start right there, calibrating that compass. What is purpose? Because I think it often gets mixed up with just having goals or maybe even our values and beliefs. How do we pull those apart, especially if you already think you're pretty self-aware?
That's a fantastic place to begin. Yeah, lots of us use values and beliefs almost interchangeably, but there's a subtle, really crucial difference when we're zeroing in on purpose. So, personal values. Think of those as the abstract ideals you hold really dear. They're like your bedrock principles. They quietly steer almost every big life decision, the career you choose, the relationships you build, even like how you handle your money. They're the why behind those big moves.
Okay, so values are the guiding principles. What about beliefs then?
Beliefs are different. They're the things you accept as true, maybe a religious doctrine or a certain political viewpoint. Now, a belief can shape a value. If you believe strongly in justice, you'll probably value fairness, right?
Sure, makes sense.
But values aren't always beliefs, like courage. Courage is a powerful value, something you aim to embody, but it's not really a belief system you subscribe to. It's more like an ingrained quality.
Got it. That distinction really helps clear things up. So purpose then. It's a specific kind of really powerful value. How do the sources define it?
They define it quite beautifully, actually. Purpose is a stable and generalized intention to accomplish something that is, one, personally meaningful, and two, leads to productive engagement with some aspect of the world beyond the self.
Beyond the self. Okay, that's the part that really jumps out at me. It's not just about what you get out of it personally. It reminds me of that great Ralph Waldo Emerson quote. It's something like, "The purpose of life is not to be happy. It is to be useful, to be honorable, to be compassionate."
To have it make some difference that you have lived and lived well. Yes. Emerson just nails that outward-looking piece perfectly. This isn't about, just feeling good moment to moment. It's about a deeper contribution. And having this clear purpose, it's not just some nice philosophical idea. It literally fills your life with meaning. It fuels your motivation when things get hard.
Yeah.
And it helps you handle challenges with, more resilience, more grace. It becomes this solid anchor, in the rough seas of life.
That's a great image. And you're saying this anchor, it isn't just metaphorical. It actually has a real profound impact on our mind, our body, even our spirit. Tell us more about that.
It really, really does. Let's start with the psychological benefits. The absence of purpose, feeling sort of adrift without that clear direction. It's often linked to negative states, things like depression, chronic boredom, loneliness, anxiety, and even, sadly, a higher risk of substance abuse. The research is pretty stark on that.
Wow. So feeling aimless can genuinely harm your mental health.
Yeah.
What about when purpose is there? What happens then?
Well, on the flip side, having a strong sense of purpose is tied to a whole cascade of positive psychological states. We see higher self-esteem, a greater sense of self-efficacy that's, believing in your own ability to get things done, more optimism, hope, and just generally higher life satisfaction. It's really a foundation for thriving.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting for me and maybe a bit unexpected. We often think we chase purpose to be happy, but the research seems to show a more complicated relationship with everyday happiness, doesn't it?
That's a fantastic point. And yeah, the research adds a really fascinating layer there. Take something like parenting or maybe caregiving for an elderly relative. People consistently report these roles as highly purposeful, deeply meaningful. Yet, paradoxically, these same roles can be incredibly stressful, right? Exhausting. And sometimes they actually lead to lower levels of moment-to-moment positive feelings.
Huh. So you might not be beaming with joy every single second, but you feel this deeper, more lasting sense of meaning underneath it all. That's a powerful difference. It's like purpose provides a different kind of fuel, maybe. Not just a quick feel-good hit, but that profound why that gets you through the tough stuff.
Exactly. It's not about avoiding challenges, but having that deep why to keep pushing forward. That underlying current of meaning helps you navigate the difficulties with this sense of fulfillment, even when it's hard. Now, what's truly amazing is how this goes beyond just our mental state, right into our physical health.
Okay, this is where it shifts from being abstract to something almost, well, tangible. How does purpose actually show up in our biology?
It's pretty remarkable, actually. People with higher levels of purpose, they tend to have some really impressive health markers. We see lower levels of stress hormones, like cortisol, better cholesterol levels. They're less likely to be overweight, and they show a lower inflammatory response in the body. And get this is particularly groundbreaking. They seem to be at lower risk for things like mild cognitive impairment and even Alzheimer's disease. Plus, they're less likely to suffer physical disabilities as they get older.
That is incredible. So, living a life with intention, with purpose, might literally act as a shield for your brain as you age. It's not just about feeling good now, it's potentially about preserving your mental sharpness decades later. That really changes how you think about purpose from nice to have to absolutely vital.
It really does. Now, it's important to say these studies are mostly correlational, meaning purpose is related to better health. We're still figuring out the exact cause and effect links. For example, maybe the positive social connections that often come with a purposeful life also play a big role in physical health. It's all kind of interwoven.
Right, a complex picture. And beyond mind and body, there's this spiritual dimension too. But this isn't necessarily about organized religion, is it?
No, not at all, not exclusively. Spiritual purpose acts more like an inner guiding light, something rooted in your deepest core values. It's about finding these profound connections, maybe between yourself and others, or even with the universe, nature, something bigger. It's not tied to, say, material success or climbing the career ladder. It's about the principles that give your life meaning and guide how you act, like an inner compass pointing towards what truly matters to you.
Okay, so if purpose is this important, this vital, how do we actually find it? It sounds like a pretty big journey, not something you just, trip over one day.
It definitely is a journey, and it starts with a really crucial first step, self-understanding. That's the bedrock. Before you can really define your purpose, you need to understand who you are, deep down. This means real self-awareness, knowing your strengths, your weaknesses, your unique thoughts, beliefs, emotions. Think of it like tuning your internal GPS. You need it working well to navigate life's choices and bumps in the road.
And right alongside that is getting clear on your core values and beliefs. Those really act as your moral compass, giving you direction.
Precisely. And to really kickstart this deep self-assessment, there's some great practical things you can do. One is just simple contemplation, self-reflection. Ask yourself, what were the most meaningful moments in my life so far? What made them significant? Was it graduating? A moment of deep connection with someone, a time you felt like your actions really mattered. The answers often hold clues to what drives you.
I like that, looking back to find clues for moving forward. And you mentioned exercises too, specific things people can try.
Absolutely. You could create a vision board,
Right.
a visual collage of your goals, dreams, what your ideal life looks like, using pictures and words. Things like personality tests, Myers-Briggs, or the Enneagram. They can offer some surprising insights into your natural traits and tendencies. And don't underestimate 360-degree feedback. Asking trusted friends, family, maybe colleagues for their perspective. Getting that outside view can be invaluable for seeing your strengths and maybe some blind spots.
Getting that full picture from different angles. Yeah, that sounds really powerful. And I guess practices like mindfulness or meditation fit in here too.
Oh, definitely. They're fantastic tools for connecting with that inner self, quieting the constant mental chatter. They help you tune into your authentic desires, your passions, the things that easily get drowned out by daily noise. They help you hear your own inner voice more clearly.
It's also worth remembering, I think, that we don't figure this out in a bubble. We're constantly shaped by our surroundings. Social conditioning, for instance. Society's expectations can sometimes push us towards goals that aren't really ours, like chasing a certain career because it looks successful. And that can leave you feeling really empty, even if you achieve it. It takes real conscious effort to break free from those external pressures.
Right. And that's where community becomes so important. While finding purpose is deeply personal, it's not necessarily something you have to do completely alone. Having a supportive network, friends, maybe a coach, mentors can be incredibly helpful. They can challenge your thinking, validate what you're going through, and reflect back both your strengths and maybe areas where you need to grow. They help keep you anchored to your authentic path.
Okay, so you've done the self-reflection, you're tuning that internal GPS, calibrating the compass.
Yeah.
How do you translate all that insight into actual action? This is where things like SMART goals come into play, right?
Exactly. The SMART framework, making goals specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, specifically relevant to your purpose, and time-bound gives you a structured roadmap. It turns those insights into concrete steps. So instead of a vague idea like, I want to help people, a SMART goal might be, I will volunteer at the local food bank for 2 hours every Saturday morning for the next 3 months. See how that makes it actionable?
Yeah, much more concrete, less overwhelming. And along the way, challenges are definitely going to pop up. How do we build resilience for when we hit those inevitable bumps?
I think the key is reframing, seeing obstacles not as dead ends, but as opportunities to learn and grow. When you hit a roadblock, take a breath, assess, what parts can I control here? What steps can I take? And importantly, don't be afraid to ask for help or guidance. Every challenge is really a chance to adapt and get stronger.
And celebrating the small wins, too. That seems crucial. It's easy to get so focused on the big, distant purpose that we forget to acknowledge the steps we're taking right now.
Oh, absolutely vital. Celebrating those milestones, however small they seem, is huge for morale. It boosts your motivation, gives you tangible proof you're moving forward. Each little celebration is like a pit stop. It refuels your emotional and mental energy for the longer journey ahead.
We've talked a lot about purpose as something we discover inside ourselves and how it benefits us. But what if that idea of finding purpose feels, I don't know, too passive or even impossible in this crazy world? What if purpose isn't found but something we actually forge? This leads us into a pretty radical philosophical view, especially from existentialism.
Yeah, this is where it gets really deep. Existentialism basically argues that meaning isn't out there waiting to be discovered. It's something we create as individuals. Think about it. The universe might not care about our search for meaning, but that doesn't make our search less important. It actually highlights our absolute freedom, which is, both amazing and kind of terrifying because without a pre-written script, you have to choose your path.
So we're not born with a fixed blueprint. Who we are gets defined by what we do, the choices we make. What does that really mean for us day to day, that idea that existence precedes essence?
It's revolutionary, really.
Yeah.
It means you don't come into the world with a set identity or some predefined essence. Instead, who you are is constantly being shaped by your actions, your choices, how you engage with the world. So if you choose to act courageously, you become courageous through that action. It's not just philosophy. It's this radical call for you to define your own meaning through every decision, big or small.
Wow. That's a powerful idea to really take on board. We are the authors of our own lives. Puts a lot of responsibility on us, but also, incredible freedom.
Exactly. And even difficult feelings like despair or suffering, which can come from facing this freedom and the absurdity of a silent universe, existentialists see those as essential parts of a meaningful life.
Yeah.
Confronting them, not running away, forces us towards living authentically. Even death, that ultimate limit, gives life its urgency. It makes our choices matter now.
So, okay, purpose might feel rare sometimes, but it sounds like it can be intentionally grown, cultivated at pretty much any stage of life. It's not just for a certain age group or after a big life event.
Precisely. Let's look at how it can unfold across a lifespan. In childhood, obviously, kids aren't ready for some grand life purpose. But early experiences can definitely plant seeds. I remember reading about a young girl, part of a 4-H club. She noticed her dad wasn't disposing of motor oil properly, right? So she started this project on oil recycling. That small thing, born from just observing something personal, sparked this environmental purpose that actually spread through her county, even the state.
That's amazing. It really can start small, organically. And adolescence, teenage years, that seems like a prime time for exploring this stuff.
Oh, absolutely. It's an ideal time. Purpose can emerge just by getting involved in something that gradually becomes really meaningful, like, say, volunteering for an environmental group over time. Or it can come from actively chasing a specific aim that feels personally relevant, like a young person getting involved in efforts against gun violence after local incidents really hit home. It can even be sparked by seeing it in others, maybe a really inspiring teacher, or even a roommate whose dedication to tutoring just ignites something in you.
What about midlife? I imagine things like parenting and work become major sources then.
Huge sources, yeah. Parenting, despite all the stress and exhaustion we talked about, consistently brings profound meaning for many people. Same with caregiving for others. And work, definitely. But it's often not just what you do, but how you frame it. Think about hospital cleaners. Some might see their job as just cleaning up messes, right?
Oh.
Thankless. But others, doing the exact same tasks, saw themselves as a crucial part of the healing process, contributing directly to patient well-being. They found deep meaning by job crafting, essentially shaping their perspective on their role to align with their deeper values.
That's such a powerful example of taking ownership, finding meaning, even in tasks others might overlook. What about later adulthood, after retirement? Maybe kids have left home. How does purpose fit in then?
It stays incredibly important, vital even, for staying connected socially and for overall health. But there can be this challenge, something researchers call the structural lag problem. It's like having this incredibly powerful, fully charged battery, the vibrant older adult, but maybe not enough machines or roles in society to plug it into. Society hasn't always caught up with increased lifespans to provide enough formal, purposeful roles. Despite this challenge, though, older adults who do maintain a sense of purpose tend to be more socially integrated, healthier, and they often find creative ways to contribute anyway.
Okay, so knowing all this, how can we actively foster purpose in our day-to-day lives, no matter our age or what stage we're in?
Yeah, there are definitely concrete strategies. At home, for instance, parents can actively cultivate gratitude, modeling it themselves, encouraging kids maybe to write gratitude letters or just list things they're thankful for. At work, anyone can try job crafting. Subtly reshape your experience. Maybe focus more on tasks you find meaningful, or build stronger relationships, or reframe how your work impacts others. In schools, career counseling could shift focus. Not just what job can you get, but what values does this kind of work align with? Group sessions could help students identify aspirations and make plans.
And even in therapy or clinical settings, professionals can help foster purpose.
Absolutely. Mental health pros can encourage practices like gratitude, and they can help people set meaningful, long-term goals. One way is guiding them to envision their optimal future selves through thoughtful conversation, Socratic dialogue, helping them connect their values to real steps forward. It's about empowering people to kind of write their own next chapter.
So we've covered a lot today. We went from defining purpose and seeing its incredible benefits for our health, our mindset, all the way to practical steps for self-discovery, and even that profound philosophical idea that maybe we create our own meaning. It seems really clear that purpose isn't some fixed destination you arrive at. It's more like a dynamic, evolving journey, a compass you're constantly recalibrating.
Your life isn't just something that's happening to you. You are actively, right now, authoring it. Every choice, every action, even the small ones, they all contribute to the ongoing creation of your purpose. It's really a daily act of living consciously.
So for you listening right now, in a world that often tries to define us from the outside, what's one small, authentic choice you can make today? Just one thing, to step more fully into that role, the author of your own deeply meaningful life.